Hello, welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast.
Welcome. I'm Laura. I'm owner of ODAA Virtual Assistant Agency, and we are a small boutique style agency that helps small businesses and businesses in growth find the help they need behind the scenes to confidently grow their business. And Angelique, you are up.
I need no, what is it called? Introduction.
Introduction.
So I'm Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions, and we are a heart-centered approach to offering project and event management to women entrepreneurs who are on fire and lighten the world up with their passion and drive, and we help them achieve their missions in the most authentic way possible. And together we are da, 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 Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. Always wanted to do that.
Love it. We should start doing that every time.
We should.
So
I've had a day, y'all. I'm just a little on the punch drunk side.
We're past loopy. It's past
Yes.
happy hour, so no judgment. So
This
together,
water. See, it's clear. It's water.
it's cute. It looks not clear. We'll get through this. We're going to have fun with this today. And our mission here is to empower women in business and in life to live authentically and support each other instead of that competing with each other that seems to come up. We don't have a mindset for that. We're not worried about competition, clearly, working together. So we want to model that authenticity. We want that to be the normal is, yes, you could be my competition, but no, my mindset is we can help each other, support each other, and then we don't have to hide and be scared to give the support and the love that we need to each other through our relationships in business as well as in our personal.
Yeah, because, there isn't competition. Really, there isn't, if you really think about it, because the more you help, I help you, it helps me because I believe in karma. And so what I put out, that's what's going to come back to me. So the more I give and am generous with not just my clients, but also with my peers, the more that's going to come back. And that's what we're all about. So let me get back to the notes here because I totally went off track.
You pulled a me today.
I did. I am. So the whole idea, the reason for the podcast was that we are trying to normalize what it looks like when female entrepreneurs face challenges, but we share the lessons we've learned so that we can help other women along on their entrepreneurial path. And we can not tear anybody down, don't put anybody down, but encourage people by sharing the information we have, the things we've learned, the mistakes we've made. Because guess what? We're all out there making mistakes, but nobody's talking about them. Well, I think it's getting better. But we want to normalize what it looks like when women succeed at supporting each other. I think it builds up each other's confidence and it helps us use our gifts and passions to fulfill our life's calling. So that's what we're here for. We're here building, maintaining, and growing a sisterhood that believes in this abundance mindset, that there's more than enough to go around, and sharing our flubs and our mistakes so our sister doesn't have to. And in the end, I think that we help each other rise into our highest potential.
Absolutely.
And somebody's here to help us do that today.
Absolutely. We are excited. We have Danyah Aossey. We discussed this before, and so last week we did a number on that, but we are correcting it this week. So, and she is a content marketing strategist and the CEO of Aossey Creative. She specializes in simplifying social media strategy and believes in giving away all the secret tips and tricks. No gatekeeping information around here.
I love that.
Danyah, that is such a wonderful part. I love this when we read it last week and before. So, but Danyah has worked with some of the biggest influencers and brands across nearly every industry in the world, from Gary Vee and Michael Moore to P&G, Olay, WeWork, Universal, and more. In December of 2020, Danyah started Aossey Creative to help business owners with top-notch marketing without the Madison Avenue price tag. Love that. And so today, the agency is focused on supporting purpose-driven, conscientious business owners to change the world, literally, by helping them expand their audience through strategy and podcast production.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
And I thought it was Aossey.
It is. It's Aossey Creative.
Aossey.
Yep.
Aossey.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
See?
So, hey, when you got a name that's like mine, you get used to it.
Yeah, we had this conversation. And we all
corrected it, but it went right back in my head.
It's okay. It's no worries.
And last week we called you Danyah, but it's Danyah. Yep. And what's your middle name again?
Amina.
Amina is just such a cool name. Very unique.
That's what it is. It's unique.
Yes.
So I thank my mother every day. It's once you get it, it's unforgettable, but everything between learning it to getting it is quite a journey.
Love it. So we've talked a lot about burnout, just general burnout for entrepreneurs, especially females, women. In fact, our first guest for the podcast over a year ago had just written a book about burnout. And we just had her back a couple of weeks ago for our 1-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
So we've kind of covered throughout the year different aspects of burnout. With one thing we've never talked about is content burnout. And girl, that's for real.
It's so prevalent.
I mean,
it's a lot.
And we don't talk about it. I think we say it in different ways. We just say, I don't know what to post anymore. I don't know what to say anymore. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. And just different images, Well,
and really quickly, if you feel like you could take something that you posted 6 months ago and post it again today, what that really says is that the platform that you're posting on does not give you the level of impact and depth that you need as an entrepreneur. We're not content creators. Like, you're not an influencer that is running around. You're running a business. And it's a sales marketing strategy. So the idea that you can create 60 days worth of content and repurpose it on a TikTok or an Instagram, that tells me that you don't have a long tail on your content, which is just the first thing when it comes to content burnout is I'm going to make something that's not going to create an impact. And then I'm going to just have to start over tomorrow. And that's exhausting. So that's like the first and foremost, how we get into it is we've somehow taught entrepreneurs that they have to, especially new entrepreneurs, we've taught them that they have to start a business, run a successful business, learn how to be a boss, learn how to be an entrepreneur, all while maintaining the content flow and creation process of an influencer. It's just like a broken system. And then we wonder why we look at the Gary V's and the Grant Cardones and we think, God, they're creating so much content. Well, they're not creating it. I mean, Gary's brilliant and, he is an incredible marketer in his own. But when I was on the team, there were 30 people working for him full time. And so the reality is we've put these astronomical expectations on these new entrepreneurs. And then we're like, well, what do you mean you're burned out? You just don't love it enough. You just don't love your business enough. You're not changing enough. You're not doing enough. Like, work harder, do more. If you can't post 100 times a week and run your business and grow and scale, well, you just don't like your business enough. And then you end up with entrepreneurs that are jumping and they can't grow.
No. And that's so, what's the word?
Exhausting.
Well, it's exhausting, but it's
there's no accountability there for those that are saying that. Like
it's unapproachable. It's unfinishable.
It's irrational.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
Well, and it's like it's a double-edged sword because it's like as a new entrepreneur, you're looking at the people that, even if you're not even looking at the Jenna Kutchers or the people that have been in it for 12 to 15 years. I mean, can you imagine how much you could accomplish in your business in a decade? And we're somehow entering the business field thinking that we have to be there. It's insane. It'd be like you walking onto, a beverage business and comparing yourself to Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
they've grown, they've changed, they've failed, they've done all of the things that you have to then do. And you're just not seeing that middle part. And it breaks my heart because it's like we lose so many entrepreneurs that are really passionate about what they do, but they don't want to post on Instagram 12 times a day.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to.
No, you don't have
I
to.
don't. I hate social media. We've discussed several times. I hate it. I don't post my own. It's I've hit that level of I really don't truly want to. And you're right. Because when I first came in, I had the idea of it all had to all be like everything. It was the big thing. Like you had to compete and do this. So yes, we made big major strides that people have been in the industry for much longer. But in doing that, there are things that I'm not focused on. Like I did give that up, like social media and stuff like that, where it's like, yes, I'm in there and I support others, but no, you're right. I'm not an influencer. That's not what it's for. For me, it's marketing. There's advertising. Like you use it different ways. So, but
people running commercials in the 1980s weren't trying to start their own TV show.
No,
it's two different approaches.
Yeah,
I like that analogy. That puts it in real perspective, right?
Yeah. And we've just decided that we're going to force that on people, and they don't need it. And you guys are doing it right. You're creating a podcast. So, we'll get back to that. But having a long tail is so important when you're marketing a business.
Yeah. So let's talk about your story and how you experienced content burnout.
Yeah, totally. So I've been working in social media in some variation since 2013. So I started tweeting for companies, and it slowly grew. I went to film school, got into the film industry. I'm a big proponent of storytelling. That's where my passion lies. And all of the rest of this is really just how I tell my story or how I tell other people's stories. And I got into a car accident in 2017, and it really hard left my journey, which I'm really grateful for now. But I was working on sets, and you can't carry a 70-pound camera case when you can't walk. So I basically pivoted very quickly, and between 2017 and 2019, attempted and failed to build my first agency, helping social media. And I look back and I'm like, you knew nothing. You knew so little. And I was just kind of like this little kid being like, I'm going to do this. And
I love though that you own that. Like I attempted it and failed.
Yeah.
Because failing is just a form of feedback. I say this repeatedly on the podcast. It is feedback. It is not a personal judgment of who you are as a person.
Not at all. Well, and I think there was so much that, I had the perspective. We see a lot of social media managers do this when they're beginning. I had the perspective of I use social media, therefore I know how to work social media. And the reality is when you're selling, and the reality is when you're selling for someone else, it's a totally different monster. And so, I just listened to a podcast the other day with Alex Hormozy, and he was talking about how it's one thing to do it for yourself. It's another to do it for someone else. And you want to cater to people that have done it for someone else, because if I can sell myself all day long, but if I can't sell you, there's no reason for you to work with me. So I learned a lot of hard lessons. And then in 2019, I got really into Gary's content, really into the podcast. I was very deep in that content. And he had just launched Empathy Wines, which is his wine brand. And I was like, I saw the corporate video, and I was like, this isn't something people are going to share. Like I didn't connect to it. That wasn't the purpose of the content, but at the time I didn't know that. So I recut it, and I pulled a bunch of moments from the vlogs and different things like that. And I tweeted it at Gary, and he reposted it and pinned it to the top of his page. And within 15 minutes, it had 15,000 views, and it just was like growing. And I walked into the living room at that time. I was, my agency was failing out from under me. I was driving Postmates. Like I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay rent. My mom looked at me and went, now you got to go apply to his job. Like go apply to anything within that agency because it's attention. Within 3 weeks, I was in New York working for Gary.
So
Well,
cool.
a little longer than 3 weeks, but it worked out well. I spent 2 years on Team Gary Vee before the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, all of us went home for our 2-week vacation. We were like, oh, this will be great. And slowly but surely, I moved into the agency side of things and started working with some of their larger clients, creating a lot of content there, learning more about what it is to actually sell. Because Gary's model is very branding focused, and then he is the salesperson. Whereas these larger brands, they are looking to sell and convert and move product. And so that was a situation. And then come October, I decided that I really wanted to branch out on my own. I was hitting 30. I was having a little bit of a midlife crisis. And that was when Aossey Creative came about. And we spent a year doing social media. We had great results. We really enjoyed it. And then all of a sudden, it was like all of the platforms collectively decided at the same time. They were like, okay, we're going to raise how much content you have to put out. And speaking of burnout, I got to the point where I was like, I'm tired of burning out my clients. I'm tired of burning out my team. I'm tired of burning out. We like to say we're a burnout free agency because at the end of the day, fresh creatives create fresh creative. And so it's like if you're not giving your creatives the opportunity to like be people, you're just like creating a creative sweatshop. You're not going to get the results you want. And so we pivoted into podcasts because it really got to a place where I was like, I'm tired of sending emails at 2:00 in the morning. And I'm tired of reaching out to my clients being like, okay, now you have to post 4 times a day on stories, 6 times a day on stories. It just wasn't sustainable. So now we manage and grow. We produce, market, and scale podcasts. So we help people show up in podcasting and how to leverage that within social media. So our key is we pull social clips, we manage the marketing, we do all of that back end stuff. So you show up, you film 5 hours a month, and you have a content wheel that then works for you behind the scenes.
You need to hire her, Laura.
Yeah,
honestly, I love what you guys are doing. Let's talk.
I love it. Yes, because okay, so podcast is wonderful and we have a lot of fun and we've discussed this because we're taking a little bit of time back here in a minute. So, but that's what it is. It's that time back. It's fun and we've had a great time, but it's not easy.
No,
especially when you're just starting. I guess anything when you're just starting it is going to be a lot more than it, once it becomes a routine or it's down the road a little.
It's that concept of it takes 60% of the fuel to get the plane off the ground.
Yeah. And when you're present live and you're vulnerable and you're following that group, I mean, putting that out there in its own energy can be hard. In a lot of ways. We love it. It's great. But there are moments when I'm like, ooh, did we overshare today? What was said? Like, what is now out there that can't ever be
forever on the internet?
Yeah, that's valid. That's very valid. Yeah.
And I'm sitting back here going, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, right. I don't care either. I'm like,
but Laura is like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
I've gotten to the point where like it's too much work to remember what version of me showed up to what interview that I'm like, you know what, we're just gonna put it all out there, and if I get canceled, I get canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So where did you hit your wall? How did that, what was that like?
Yeah, so I mean, coming off of 2020, first of all, I hit my wall really when I moved from Team Gary Vee to the agency model. And it was more of just, we had been sprinting so hard, like I was making by myself 3 videos a day, 5 to 6 days a week. Like it's just such a huge model, and it has to be that way. I mean, like I grew, you cannot learn what I learned in 2 years, in 10 years of doing it once in a while. Like I was putting so many reps and I'm so grateful for that. But when I came off of that, I kind of hit a wall and I was like, I don't have anything left to give. And you don't realize it when you're on the treadmill. When you get off the treadmill, you're like, oh, I can't even. It's like when you get drunk, you're like, I can't feel my face. Like it's that idea.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly.
We're angels here, remember?
We all went to college. It's fine. But yeah, so I mean, I really had to come to terms. I didn't even identify it as burnout at the time, but I was like, I just feel like I need like a 2-year nap. Like I just didn't have, and I felt like I didn't like what I was doing anymore. And the reality was, I love what I do. I just needed to do it in a more sustainable way. And so it became, okay, how do I show up to this business? And then, the perfect time to start a business is when you're burned out.
Yeah.
Great idea to build an agency model.
Yeah.
So I went in, and 2 more years of just kind of grinding it out. I felt like I didn't work hard enough, or I couldn't work hard enough to build it. And then finally I realized, like, no, you're burned out, and you need to step back and understand that, you're human. And especially when you're building a business, like, you're the only one usually at the very beginning. And so that became more of, how do I take care of the business as well as my body, as well as the vessel that is creating the business?
Yeah.
Because I think so many of us are like, you just got to muscle through it. But a reminder, grind is not a good thing. Like, if you're an engine and you're grinding, you're destroying the mechanics of your engine. So this kind of idea of, like, you got to grind your way through it or get to the top, it's like you're actively working against who you are. Yes, it takes a lot of work to build a business, but, like, grinding, you should never be grinding. That means that you are inefficient, and your business and your structure and your system is broken, and you're doing damage. Like, don't grind.
Don't grind.
I get so, like, adamant about that.
So one of our previous guests, she talked about giving from the overflow of her cup. The stuff that goes over the sides, you can have that. That's for everybody else.
Yeah.
But the stuff in the cup, that's just for me.
I'm not inherently like that. I am someone that really enjoys, I'm a people pleaser. I get my validation from achieving things for others. That's helped me very much in my career. So this concept of, like, filling my cup and then giving people the leftovers has never really resonated with me. I get it. It makes sense. But I think for me, it's been about, how do I bring myself back to zero? I don't need to overflow, but I can't be pulling from a negative bank account, in the sense of, like, I'm not sleeping, I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not drinking enough water, I'm not doing these things, and then I'm expected to show up at 100% somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I kind of had to adjust it in my head of, like, I'm not going to have a 3-hour morning routine and a Zen yoga retreat once a year and all of these things. Like, that's just not who I am.
Right.
But I can take better care of myself so that I can show up for my clients better. Because that's
where I don't think you're alone. I don't think you're the only one that functions that way. We all operate differently, from a different place, from a different mindset, and none of it's good or bad. Not it's just, we're all individuals, and we do things our own way.
Yep, 100%.
I think that concept of speeding up to slow down was really hard for me. Slow down to speed up. Ooh, really got that wrong. But that slow down moment, because I've been in that all my life, like, keep going, and that's how we thought. And so the idea of, like, slowing down the speed up, that was a super hard concept.
Same. Like, if you're not producing, then you're not. That's where so many women, especially, get our worth. Is if I'm not producing, then I'm not I'm not as worthy as someone else who's producing more.
Well, but I also think it circles back to the concept that we've been taught as women and as entrepreneurs. Your most recent win is your only win. And the idea is, with technology and AI and all of the things that we have at our fingertips right now, you can create a bank of wins that are there working for you outside of when you are taking care of yourself. It's there. You've got a podcast that's drawing in views month after month. You've got an email newsletter that doesn't have to be you. It can be automated. And how do we build these practices and these systems into our business so that we are able to show up in a better capacity, and we are going to build that room where we don't feel like if we step away, we're losing opportunity.
Right.
It's still there. It's still working for us.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you hit a wall. And so how did you come out of it? What did you learn from that?
Yeah. I mean, I came out of it, I would say, what they don't tell you about burnout is that when you reach that point, I feel like something is kind of, I don't know that you can ever fully get out of it. Like, in the sense that it's like, a dead battery is a dead battery. You know what I mean? You have to physically remove the battery and put a new battery in.
It's so
I'm
cute. You know
sorry,
why we're
couldn't even
chuckling?
hold it. I couldn't hold it, Angelique. I'm
I
sorry.
couldn't either. So I've been dealing with a dead car battery
Yes.
this week.
Oh,
And
crazy.
why did I think that I could just get it jumped and then the next day I'd be fine?
Exactly.
Because some man told me that my battery was fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I tested it. Dude, it's dead.
It's
Get
dead.
a new one.
Yeah. And so it's like we think that we have a dead battery and we think, oh, I just need to take a nap or I need to go on vacation. That's my favorite. When someone's like, I'm burned out, I need a vacation. I'm like, who's come back from vacation actually rested? Like reality.
Yeah.
Never.
It would have to be
But,
very
yeah.
intentional.
I don't travel
Exactly.
well. So yeah, I'm never rested after vacation.
Yeah. So I mean, it was at one point I literally was like, okay, I am going to phone it in. I had processes in place where I was like, my clients are going to get what they pay for. I'm not going above and beyond. So in college, I did the Disney college program. So everything that is built off of that is all about customer service. It's all about going above and beyond. I love coming back to that kind of like people pleasing, giving back. I was like, no, we're going to execute on what the contract says. And then that's it. And it was probably a good 6 months. And I mean, I lost clients. They had gotten used to a very premier service. And all of a sudden I was like, nope, that's not part of your contract. We don't fulfill that. I'm so sorry. We can't do that. And it was hard, but I needed to balance out somehow. And I needed to start looking at it as my company was something to be protected. It was not just, I had an employee mindset of like, I show up to work, I take care of this business, and then the company pays me and I move on. And I had to look at it from the space of a CEO of like, I'm not just working for this company today as it is. I'm working for the company a decade down the line when it's, 10 times the revenue. And the things I'm doing today are planting those seeds. So I have to show up in that capacity.
And I think a lot of people, not just women, but a lot of people struggle with that
Oh, yeah.
worker bee mentality versus the CEO mentality, because it is a shift in the paradigm.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's almost, especially as women, we're taught not to stand out. We're taught not to draw focus, not to, we are not meant to pull the limelight. And stepping into a CEO role is saying, I am going to run this and you are going to follow me. I'm going to be a leader and a steward of your time and effort. And you need to trust me. Well, that's counterintuitive to what society tells us to do as women.
Yeah.
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 So
so everything you learned going through that process. Now you basically, it sounds like you made it your business.
I literally made it my business.
And you made it your business.
And it's kind of astounding when we bring new clients on that have, these like 12-person teams that are managing their marketing and all of these other aspects of their stuff. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to be posting 1 million times a day. You don't have to be, it's like doing those things. If you don't love them and they're not adding directly, the amount of entrepreneurs that are posting 1 million times a day and are making no sales out of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you doing it? It's not helping your business and it's pulling you away from other things.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know why they're doing it. It's just because so-and-so told them to. And, it's like, okay, so I was on a discovery call this morning and it was really funny. I told her, when you build a podcast, you are building a second bedroom on your home. You are not building a guest house. The goal is to expand your current business and plug a podcast in as a income stream, a revenue source, and an option for expanding what you already have. It's not starting and growing this totally different thing that you have to start from the ground up, because otherwise that feels like building another business.
Right.
And too many entrepreneurs are doing that. They're thinking, I need to post on social media because then it's going to drive into this place and I can build over here. And it just, you get scattered.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about, I totally lost my train of thought in terms
That's
of the
okay.
question.
That's okay. I do that all the time.
Oh, yeah,
And
girl.
it's perfectly fine.
ADD life.
Yeah.
Yes. So here we are, mostly through our 30 minutes, and
Yes.
we need to talk about other stuff. So, and I lost my train of thought because I had another question for you,
Yeah.
and I lost it. What are you laughing at, Laura?
Oh, I remember your first question.
Okay, she remembered the first question.
The
Ding,
first
ding,
question,
ding.
I really got to a place where I wanted to integrate it into the business, into how I worked every day, because I feel like I'm a light switch human. And if I was pushing burnout and overproduction and not having a strategy on my clients, I knew that I would still show up in my business with burnout and no
Oh,
strategy and overproduction. And so sitting down with clients and saying, okay, where is your energy best put? And how can we create that is my goal as a strategist, is to efficiency. I want you, the hours you do put into your marketing, I want them to give you the most bang for your buck.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to
We got back there.
It's back there.
You know, and again, yeah, because those that are, you know, a lot of times through this, we've learned sometimes people just need that permission to do it differently. And so, yeah, permission. Like, you don't have to be a social media bug and guru type person to make that work. And
And I think so often, like, we are so prescriptive with what, this is how you build a business. This is how you build an offer. This is how you build a course. And if you don't have a course, you don't have a business. And it's like, that's not true.
Right.
There are millions and millions of businesses out there that
Yeah.
have never stepped foot on the internet. And for some reason, we have this, like, these blinders on.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it was the pandemic and the fact that so much of that was online, but you know, and
I'm not saying, I'm not condoning you jumping offline. I think being online is crucial to a business nowadays, but I don't think that it should come at the cost of, you know, it doesn't have to be.
So is it? So right now people are like quantity, 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 but really is it about quality?
Oh, of course. Quantity, the only thing that benefits from quantity is the platforms. That's it. That's why we're doing quantity, is because Instagram told us to. They don't, like, you don't actually benefit from creating 600 pieces of content, repeating yourself 1,000 times. Like, in a real world.
So much sense.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't send the same email 12 times. The reality is, the reason we're doing quantity is, you know, you have to balance quality versus quantity, because you can't do a million great pieces of content unless you have a 30-person team. And Instagram thrives off of that. And they're saying, okay, we're going to cinch your reach. We're going to reduce the amount of people that see per post. So you're going to use our platform more. You're going to create more content. You're going to do more of that. And then it becomes like, the more content you have to create for the platform, the higher up the funnel of your sales and customer journey it goes. So if you're creating 1,000 pieces of content a day, it takes so many more pieces of content for a customer to trust you and to want to buy from you than if you're creating one piece of content. Think about these filmmakers that go, you know, they make 2 films. I mean, Greta Gerwig is a great example. She made the Barbie movie. She's busting records right and left. She's made like 4 movies before this. She did Lady Bird. She did the Little Women. And then she had a film in school. And that's it. It's quality. It's putting your whole self into something. That's what people recognize. It's authenticity, it's quality, it's all of those things. And people recognize that work.
And okay, I know this is down a rabbit hole, but what the hell happened when they will start marketing? What were they thinking when they created the previews for that movie? Because that's not what the movie was about. I'm seeing clips now from the movie going, that's what it's about?
Have you seen the movie?
That
No.
Okay.
I have a hard time on that.
And I thought it was stupid.
I think that, yes, I think the marketing will go down in history for their marketing campaign. I mean, you can't spend $150 million on marketing for a $300 million movie and not break some rules. The vertical integration of their marketing was insane. But yeah, I mean, it definitely, you can look at so many movies that their trailers don't match the movie. And I think that they were kind of hitting all across the board. There was a very heavy, I don't want to say political because it's not really political, but like a gender perspective on it that they kind of wanted to mask. There's a very feminist angle on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into it expecting an extremely feminist movie, and that's also not what I got. It kind of like towed the middle.
Mhm.
But I think it was, I
But
don't know,
now I
rabbit
want to
hole.
see
I
it
liked
only
it.
because I saw, a one particular clip.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I don't want to go. I want to
We
stay
can go deep.
focused here.
I'm a
One of
film
the
buff.
things we
Let's
talked
go.
about before we went live was ADD, rabbit holes, being distracted, squirrel. Yeah.
Yes.
All of those good things that we entrepreneurs struggle with.
Yeah.
So Laura, what's her offer for us? Because you guys talked. I was running a few minutes late because I had, a day, and you guys talked before I came on. So you know more about that than I do.
So what they are getting ready to do a new launch. So we're gonna send out a link to sign up for the email list and for the new launch that's coming out. Do you want to talk about that, or
Yeah. What's the new launch? What is it?
Yeah, super simple. I just keep seeing everywhere that people are like, launch your podcast, 3 easy steps. And I'm like, okay, we're going to take our entire process that we have start to finish. We're a podcast agency. We scale people to thousands and thousands of views in not a lot of time. And we're going to give it away for less than $20. So that is our new launch. Is I'm literally putting our entire strategy into a package, and we're going to walk you through it step by step, and you can launch your podcast for $20.
Because you know what? I want to start another podcast because I love this.
Yeah,
I do.
Great.
I really do love this. And I want to talk about other things.
Yeah.
Like all kinds of other things. I want it to be about nothing in particular and
that's
everything.
Your name. Nothing in particular.
And everything. I want to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about today. Okay, because it's different than tomorrow.
There's two strategies to launching a podcast. There is the scalpel and the gunshot. So you've got, the gunshot's going to grow a little bit slower because it's just spraying. The scalpel is like, I only talk about email marketing, or I only talk about X, Y, and Z. And the gunshot is going to build you an audience that's obsessed with you. It may take longer, but there is more of a buffer.
I want people obsessed with me.
Exactly. But they will, when you like your favorite influencers, you will follow them to any platform. You'll buy from them. You trust them. It takes longer. Yeah. Whereas a scalpel, if you're no longer giving email advice, I'm on to the next thing. So it's really about looking at, what do you want to sell? Do you want something that's going to take longer and not give you as much immediate return, but could be a 5-10 year plan? Or do you want something that you're like, I'm going to sell my product tomorrow? There's no wrong answer.
That's awesome. I like that. There's no wrong answer.
Yeah,
and you're going to give us a link that we're going to share with our peeps, right?
Yep.
Did you put that in
Not yet.
No, we're getting ready to launch it on November 1st.
What's the link for the email? We'll grab the link. Let me try that again because my brain went blip. We will put the link for the email list to get that notification of the launch when we post the show notes. So awesome. There we go.
Very good. Very good. Very good. So one of the things that we like to do on this podcast is have the current guest introduce the next guest, because I feel like it just connects us more. It exposes the current guest to our upcoming guest. And how many times, Laura, have we heard them say, oh my gosh, this person sounds fantastic. I want to listen next week. And I'm like, yes, right? That's what we want. We want you to want to listen to the next episode. So Danyah is going to introduce our guest for next week, which is, I'm crazy excited about having her. When did you meet Mary, Laura?
No.
Okay, I don't think I met her in person. I think I met her through a webinar or something like that.
Okay.
But her name is Mary. I think I'm saying it right. Kravitz.
I love it. Do you want me to
Go for
introduce
it.
her? So, Mary Kravitz is an award-winning client generation expert and an international speaker who helps people grow their business without working nights, weekends. We love that. And she heard all the confusing and conflicting advice out there. And she isn't surprised that most business owners struggle to establish a sustainable business. 100% agree.
Yeah, we were just
But
talking about that.
exactly. But she's here to change that. Using her methods, the majority of Mary's clients quickly increase their income 50% or more. Impressive. And clients range from the former CFO of Microsoft North America to coaches in their first couple years of business to thought leaders in a variety of service professions. Mary is a huge fan of roller coasters. She is on her own there. My feet are on the ground.
Yes.
Obsessed with otters and a proud mother to her Inigo Montoya.
That's her kitty.
Oh, I love
You know
cats
who
with
Inigo
like fun
Montoya
names.
is?
Yes, you killed my father. Prepare to die.
That's right. My name is Inigo Montoya.
Movie buff.
Prepare to die.
So very excited for Mary to be on the pod next week. I'll be listening.
Awesome. So our announcement this week is sign up for our newsletter too, y'all. We send out weekly sneak peeks and a monthly recap of all the wonderful things that our great, awesome guests offer us. So, I mean, it's just a plethora of goodiness,
Yes.
and goodies.
Goodness.
I kind of
I like
combine
goodiness.
the words. Goodiness.
I like goodiness. Yeah.
There you go.
I made up my own word.
Right. I love making them wrong. I don't know. I can't get them out the right way. So wherever they come out wrong, that's fine.
Awesome. Well, Danyah, thank you so much for being with us this week. It's been awesome. The time has just flown. Like we're already hitting almost 45 minutes. And it's like, wait, what did we talk about? Like,
right?
You know,
Give me 12 hours. I'll jabber.
So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of
fun. We will be back next week with Mary Kravitz. Same time, same day. That's Wednesdays, 6:30 Eastern. So we'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
All right, everyone. Bye.